Hello, it's Cindy from the Osterville Library, and once again we have another fantastic interview today, and I bet you can't tell because I'm wearing cranberry today what we're going to be talking about. So today we're very fortunate to have Hilary Sandler, no relation to Adam. I'm sure you've
No
never met
relation.
that. Here from the UMass Cranberry Station, which I hadn't heard of before this. Could you tell us a little bit about the UMass Cranberry Station? And
Oh,
welcome.
well, and thank you very much. Thanks so much for having me today. Always a pleasure, and one of my favorite things is to talk about cranberries. The Cranberry Station is actually affiliated with UMass Amherst, even though we're located about 140 miles east of the main campus. So we are located in East Wareham, and we've been here since 1910.
Oh, wow.
And our primary mission is to provide research and outreach to the cranberry industry to help growers be efficient and productive in farming cranberries, as well as to provide good environmental stewardship of their farms as well. So that's our primary cause. And we have about 15 full-time people here. We have about 5 scientists, some technical support, administrative staff, and then we have 11 acres of cranberry farm right here that we do research on. And so we have 2 folks that actually do a lot of the farm activities as well. And then the other exciting part is during the summer, which is, the off time for the university, but that's our on time. And so we end up hiring a lot of students, and they could be even high school, mostly, usually undergrads, but sometimes graduate students will come and spend their summers here and learn how to do research, learn stuff about science, get to, go out in the field, do lab work, and get a really nice complementary part to their education other than just the book learning.
That's
So
great.
that's a nice aspect to what we offer here.
That's great. I hear there's over 60,000 acres of cranberry bogs.
Oh, so what that is that there's about 14,000 acres of producing cranberry bogs. But what's really wonderful about us in this area is that usually for every acre of producing bog, there's sometimes about 3 to 4 areas of uplands that are just used as open space. So we usually say that the industry is being stewards of about 60,000 acres of open space for the region. But
Well, I
yes,
know
so
around the Cape right now, they're starting to harvest the bogs, and I really don't think there is anything more beautiful than a cranberry bog being harvested.
absolutely.
It's just beautiful.
It's a spectacular. It's a very spectacular visual, and even if you see pictures of it, I would encourage anybody out there, if you've never gotten to see cranberry harvesting in person, you should really check it out, especially when we have those beautiful fall days and the
Mhm.
puffy clouds and the blue sky and the trees are changing color. Just that the vibrancy of that red color in the water it's really, there's nothing like it.
I
And as far as color too, and really it's quite unique just in our whole harvesting method. There really aren't any other things that really get harvested quite like cranberry fruit.
I know it really is beautiful. And we're so fortunate around here that the bog owners let people walk around and walk around the bogs, and
Right.
it's so beautiful. You're absolutely right. I
Yep.
went to a program once a long time ago where they were talking and I never realized what a science the whole cranberry industry really is, with besides, the insects that can affect it, and just, minute degrees in temperature, and that there's really, it's just not just you have a bog and that's it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have so much respect for cranberry growers because they really not, in addition to being farmers, they need to be, like hydrologists, and they need to know biology, and they, need to understand the weather. And, there's just so many components that really interact and interface with each other on a daily as well as a seasonal basis that can impact your farm in any given perspective. So I mean, they really do, it's a very knowledge intensive business to be in. And
Yeah.
it's always changing and growing and shifting. especially like with different pests that are coming up and, overladen with climate change and, always different things to be dealing with. So it's exciting but challenging at the same time.
Well, and this year you have the drought to deal with, so I'm sure that's
Right.
affected it's gonna affect the crop in some way.
Yeah, so certainly, the way the cranberries grow is that, they get pollinated, flowers get pollinated and produce the fruit in, early to mid-July. And then they start to size up. And we really do depend on rainfall pretty much during the month of August to get that fruit size. So this year, we've had good color development because that's kind of predicated on day length and cool temperatures in the fall, which we did have this year. So we have good color, but our berries are certainly smaller
Hmm.
than we would, typically get if we had gotten some rain. And then the other way that the shortage of rainfall impacts growers is that, as most people know, we harvest our cranberries in water. And so some growers have been short on water and have been trying to rearrange their harvest schedule to either wait for rain or to be able to manipulate their water resources so they can figure out how to get that water so they can harvest their fruit. It's been a big challenge.
So I'm sure some people might want to know, why do some people use sand on the bogs at the around here and some don't?
Yeah, so sanding is actually it's another fairly unique horticultural practice that it's in cranberries as well as turf, but we use sand to anchor the runners parts that are above ground. They have these runners that are horizontal stems that go along the ground, and then there's the uprights that are the vertical stems, and that's where the fruit are produced. So the way cranberries grows, that they first send out those runners, that colonizes the ground, and once those anchor and root, then they put up the uprights. And so what they do with the sanding is that every few years, cranberries produce a lot of these runners. So the sand helps to anchor those runners into the ground. So it helps improve the architecture of the canopy, as well as encouraging the plant to produce the uprights, which are going to produce more fruit. And
Hmm.
that's why they do it. I know people think we put the sand out there to stop people from playing hockey
Right.
on the frozen ponds, but that's not true.
I know. That's why I
It,
wanted
it
to clear
actually
that.
does serve
Yeah. I wanted to clear that rumor
it
up.
definitely serves. Absolutely, yeah. So it is a valid horticultural practice. But again, that's something else that's being impacted by climate change. When I first started working here in the 1990s, we would get ice fairly regularly during the winter. Now we get ice rarely during the winter.
Hmm.
And so growers have had to bring in other ways of getting sand onto their bogs. So they either do it directly on the vines, which is very tough on the vines. They've built barge sanders so they can do it in water, not quite as good as doing it on the ice. And so they've developed some other methods to try to get the sand out. But sand is very expensive
Right. Right.
if you don't have it on site. So some of the research that we've done is to see, are there other horticultural methods like pruning that we could do that aren't ice dependent that would still improve the canopy, and achieve the same sort of goals, but would be, less expensive and not so dependent upon weather.
Yeah. Now you said like it's part of UMass college. Are there any like educational things that in normal times that people could go to you for, or is it just strictly for UMass?
So yeah, so we're with the University of Massachusetts. Most of our educational outreach is to cranberry growers because that's just where our team is focused. But there's different parts of extension that would cover different stakeholders. So there's like 4-H or the nutrition program that may be helping people learn how to use food in different ways, or there's similar teams to ours that help golf courses or help apple growers or help urban landscapes and those kinds of things. So the public's always welcome to our events, but most of the outreach that we do is very oriented towards cranberry growers and trying to help them on their farms.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know today about the UMass Cranberry Station or cranberries in general?
Uh, Sure. Well, I'd like people to know that, if they weren't aware already of the incredible heritage that cranberries have for Cape Cod, as well as the rest of southeastern Massachusetts. Um, the cranberry industry is going through a challenging time now, but growers are incredibly dedicated and committed to keeping their farms sustainable, and that's how we interact with them, is we try to help them in any way that we can to do that, and that we really anticipate the cranberry industry staying very vibrant. And a piece of very exciting news that just came in August was that the state approved an environmental bond bill that's going to enable us to build a new building here on our campus that will allow us to probably hire 5 new scientists, and we'll have a new meeting room, and it will really upgrade our entire functionality. So we're very invested in moving forward. And though the future of cranberry industry may be different, I still think it's going to be very vibrant and bright.
Oh, that's good to hear. Now, the most important question of all, do you like gelled or whole cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm definitely a whole berry sauce person. So
Okay. Well,
yeah,
thank you
definitely.
so much for taking the time and talking with us today. Really appreciate it.
No problem. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for taking an interest in the Cranberry Station.